Well, chat. I think one of the contributing factors to me not being as successful of a streamer as I wanted to be is when I stream, I expect you guys to entertain me. I'm not really focused on me entertaining you. So when I haven't had stuff in the chat for a while, I don't really have anything to say. I just sit here. Sit here playing by myself, not saying anything. Have you ever gone to a small streamer who's only streaming to like 1 or 2 viewers or none, and they're just sitting there playing the game silently? I've been that, so I get it. But why is someone going to come into your stream and hang out if you're not being entertaining, right? Have you considered doing more content, Pokemon content in the future? Every day I consider that. I'd like to get enough for 3 videos today. And I don't know that I'm particularly excited to play 3 Hearthstone decks, so maybe I do Pokemon for one of those. We'll see. Wow. Look at that thing. Look at it go. I like the idea of having more A&R. I also feel like poison seeds might be really helpful. Shoot, I don't know what to do. I think I'll take this. Then if I do this now, I go to 7 and then the following turn I'll be at 8. But if I do this, I could even play that next turn if I really want to.
You cannot contain the sun. Fear the flame.
Well, there you go. Does this do anything? I like that you can get this guy to blow the thing out. Bento Mister has the single most bizarre seed list. I have been bamboozled by this card choice. I think the reason your stream feels fun to watch is viewer interaction for sure. Well, that is definitely like, you know, that's what I do. It's just, I'm only capable of doing something with what y'all give me, you know what I mean? So if I'm getting nothing or if I'm getting negativity, then, you know, I can't really make the content that, oh, awesome. Can't really make the content that works for my style. That's a criticism of me, by the way. That's not me saying you guys need to talk more. That's just like part of the reason why streaming appeals to me so much is because playing by myself isn't as fun as playing with people, right? That's why the dream exists in the first place. So if I'm playing by myself, I'm sitting here just vacantly playing a game, right? And so when nobody's actively talking in chat, I revert to how I would play if chat wasn't there. I was just like musing about a weakness of my streaming style. I wasn't, you know, being overly self-critical or anything like that.
I bestow these gifts upon the world. The virtue of the wild.
All right, Bento Mister. Lots to talk about in React content. Did I say hi already? Hi already. But yes, that's true. Should I start being a React streamer? What should I react to? What's up, Pug? Boo Saturday? It is a Boo Saturday. All right, yeah, that's pretty true. This is a pretty bizarre list. just in case your late game inevitability isn't good enough, you have to get the Sargeras WinCon. That said, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this.
Insanity is no excuse for bad manners.
Job's done. I can't play that.
Oh, they all got sent to the Twisting Nether. No, I was like, why isn't this working? You were not getting it, Stu. Just react to these fools trying to beat Marshy. True. MBT Yu-Gi-Oh has a series where he plays with viewers and they try to make him laugh with interesting, funny decks, but I'm not sure how that would translate to Hearthstone. It's my Friday at least. Woot woot. One more day of work. What up, Umberdeath?
This is only the beginning.
A new planet to burn.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Hey, Nutson. I'm not sure what my plan is here, honestly. I feel like... Oh, they already played the Champion, right? Oh no. If I lose to Spaghetti Warlock, oh no. Chat, which one of you greenlit this? I know it was one of you. One of you was like, yeah, this is what we'll do.
A new planet to burn.
Your wish is my suggestion.
You know this guy from playing him 5 times day 1? There you go. Chad, do you think I'm gonna lose? I think if I get Reno, I could be okay. There you go. Oh my goodness, what a big old eyeball. It's the biggest eyeball I've seen this game.
Devour everything and everyone.
Not sure what I want. Not sure what I want.
I see.
Chat, can I tell you, the first game in yesterday's video was me talking about how I feel about ice block changes. I don't want to invite that discussion again, by the way. We've had it. We don't need to talk about it anymore. But when I woke up, so first of all, that video did really well compared to some of my more recent ones. Like, it felt like it was #1 of the last 10, which is always happy to see. But I was looking at the numbers on it, I was like, wait, is this the numbers that I expected back, you know, like last expansion and before? Is this what I'm used to again? That's cool. So people really like that video, is what I'm saying. I guess I'm doing this because I have this. But when I woke up, my comment section was absolutely chock full of ice block suggestions. There was the ratio of ice block suggestions to commenting on the deck I was playing or commenting on my outro was like, I don't know, 9 to 1, something like that. It was basically all ice block suggestions. It was crazy. I had tons of comments on that video, and they were all like, what if we did this to ice block? What if we did this to ice block? What if we did this to ice block? I was like, I've already said how I feel about these changes to ice block. You guys watch the video? That was pretty funny.
My winged children fill the skies.
I lost to him too. It's okay, Marshy. Thanks, Schmoopy. You just noticed the Chumbo tag for the stream? Someone's gotta be a Chumbo friendly streamer, you know what I mean? You guys think I'm dead? Dirty Rat compilation was very funny. I enjoyed putting that together. Naturally, Marshy hearted every ice block comment. I actually hearted almost none of them. There were a couple of them, like I didn't really, so okay, here's the thing. Another thing I was thinking about, so I've been thinking about my weaknesses as a streamer. I feel like I don't do a good job of like when I feel like someone hasn't listened to me when I've said something and the response is like, well, if you just listened to what I said, you wouldn't have asked that question. I don't do a good job of hiding how much that puts me off, you know? And that translates in other ways too. Like, I feel like I have a lot of opinions based off of a long history of spending too much time staring at Hearthstone. And so I take for granted the steps that it took me to get to those opinions. And so people who may have not been staring at Hearthstone too much like I do will say something that to me is so basically proven wrong that it comes off as ignorant. Like I don't do a good job, I think, of
I see you've brought guests.
not talking down to those type of opinions lately. Does that make sense? I don't know where I'm going with that, other than I see a bunch of comments of people talking about ice block changes that make me feel like they weren't listening to me at all. And I'm like, I'm not gonna heart any of those. I woke up, I was like, oh, look at all these boring comments about ice block. I don't know. So I think reflecting on what I could do better as an entertainer, I would, something along those lines could have been improved along the way.
Set it down and I'll sign it up.
Repeating yourself, a needed part of politics, teaching, parenting, and apparently streaming. Yep. Martian is suffering fewer fools. I feel like another hour-long ice block discussion is warranted where Marshy repeats everything he said last video. All right, here we go. So it begins. Lemonade DCM, thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub to Rafiki. I appreciate you. How are you? Are you having a good day? As someone who stares way too much at Hearthstone, I feel this in my bones. Yeah, I meant to end that with Kappa. I see.
Give me that. Not what I
Uh-oh. Well, I want to play as many of my spells as possible. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully we top deck a 3 or less cost spell next turn to accompany my branching paths. What do you think my opponent's up to?
Down and I'll sign it up.
Hey Marshy, I never get to watch stream as I work night shift. Just wanted to show some appreciation as I look forward to your YouTube content every night. Have a great stream. You know what, Lemonade? Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You should lose 400 dust every time you play Ice Block. That is my professional opinion as someone who once faced Mage and lost. All right, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, this Mista Vista is gonna pop off. That's my big opinion. Pug gifting a tier 1 to Lemonade. Thank you so much, Pug. I really appreciate you. Gift a sub, get a sub.
give me that. Not what
And Pug, thank you so much for gifting out 5 more subs. You're amazing, my friend. You're so generous with me. Thank you so much. Congratulations to Ruzi, Mike, Marash, Hoppelben, One Line Poe. Interesting. Can we get some Pug, more like Pogs, in the chat, please? You can participate by doing !Pug. Hey Martian, I think we should make Ice Block have convoluted text that barely fits on the card. Why is my solution perfect? Oh my goodness. I never looked at it. I never looked at it like that, Schmoopy. I never looked at it like that. Well, I have this guff now. And a ton of cards in my hand. Just in time for Marcia to get vomited on by pirates. It's okay. I dedicate this spammy Arcanist to Pug. And to Lemonade. For their generous support of today's stream. Ice Block. When your hero takes lethal damage, you lose the game. It's perfect. It's perfect. See, that is the type of comment that would have gotten a heart on my YouTube video yesterday. Don't be good, be lucky. Stop getting better, chat. Just get luckier. Too true. Do you think that do you think that the maximum amount of text on cards being only 4 lines is a limitation to card design? It's a limitation that breeds creativity. So it's by design that these things are like Hearthstone is meant to be complete mass appeal, mobile friendly potato times. So let me take. It's simple by design, basically. So you don't require to read half a book like you do in some other IRL card games. It's meant to be something you could play on the toilet without too much, you know, not doing a good job of explaining myself, but that's okay. Complicated turn, maybe? Do I even need to do anything other than Theatar? I don't think I do. Well, I can get a couple of these Astalor at least. So here, let me see if I can't take that Hook Tusk away from them. Alright, we get that. They can have Renathal. And then we get that. They can have... I guess this. I don't love it though. Okay, well, hopefully that put an end to their shenanigans. Wow, a stream of all time? Thank you so much for the 26 months, Praise Chicken Jumpsticks. I appreciate you. How are you? So anyways, I think that Hearthstone has simple cards by design. Like, it wants to have a bunch of very simple cards that do one thing kind of basic. And yes, that limits design space, but they want to limit that design space. They want cards to be easy to understand and do simple things to help with mass appeal and brevity of gameplay.
Never bring a sword to a fish fight.
I asked that because I recently got into Yu-Gi-Oh! And every new deck I faced required reading way too much text to the point of me giving up halfway through a combo. Yeah, so when... I'm sorry. When...
Looking for a standoff? Careful, it's against me. Our gift of frost. Arcane.
When Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel came out, I really like Exodia. Like, from when I played in real life, I played a lot of Exodia. This was like, oh my god, it's like almost 15, 16, 18 years ago. I don't know, at this point, that I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In person. So that's what I have nostalgia for, is the Exodia. They got their Hooked Us back. But they can't play it, haha. I swear I'll finish my thought someday. So when Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel came out,
I bestow these gifts upon
I built the Exodia deck that could win on turn 1. And
Our gift of frost shields us.
I would try to play first.
Arcane bolt.
And if my opponent went first and got all their nonsense out, I wouldn't bother reading any of it because it was all way too long. You know, every Yu-Gi-Oh card has a 5-paragraph essay on it. And it wasn't worth it to me to read that because my deck was built to win on the first turn anyway. So I would play out my deck and win on the first turn. And if my opponent went first and something they did stop me, I would just concede. Because there was no point. I wasn't about to read 1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh card text because there's way too much text on the card. And that's a good demonstration of why Hearthstone does it the way that it does, is you don't have to sit down for a 5-paragraph essay when you read a Hearthstone card. It has one line or one or two short sentences to describe what the card does, and then you're good. Sounds like Kael'thas Druid. Yep. Except actually consistent. KT could win on turn 1. Exodia would if you gave it the chance. Do lawyers prefer Yu-Gi-Oh, and why wouldn't they? Ben Brode's the best. Snap is a disaster, chat. I think Ben Brode is exceptional at creating digital card game mechanics, like creating card game mechanics in a digital space. I think he's been terrible for the future of digital card games. Absolutely awful. The monetization model of Hearthstone is so much better than every digital card game, every successful digital card game that's come after it, right? But it is itself egregious, in my opinion. I feel like everything that's come out that's been successful since Hearthstone, comparing it back to Hearthstone makes Hearthstone look like it has a really fair model, when really it's cringe. I don't know. I missed 2 damage. Unusable. Goodbye. I was talking about this, I think it was in my Discord, but like, if we measure how the free-to-play model, so the free-to-play model is free-to-play players get a lot. They get enough that they don't actually have to pay any money, but the stuff you pay for is so expensive that only the people who have like tons and tons of money to spare can get value out of paying, you know what I mean? So it's like whales pay for the game for free-to-play players, and so this, like, if this is the spectrum, you have to be here for the game to be built for you. If you're anywhere in the middle, like, you can't get reasonable amount of value for a reasonable amount of money on a game. The like 60 to 80 bucks you spend that on Hearthstone, compare that to what 60 to 80 bucks gets you if you're buying a game for your Xbox, you know what I mean? So I think that these models are actually awful, but they've only gotten worse since Hearthstone. And you look at Ben Brode helps make Hearthstone, and then you compare that to Ben Brode helps make Marvel Snap. Oh my goodness! The monetization for Marvel Snap is so disgusting. So anyways, like, I could probably ramble about that for, you know, the foreseeable future. Sadly, Legends of Runeterra died. Okay, that's another thing from yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was about monetization models. Like yesterday's video's outro was about monetization models. So I was talking about how nobody's really tried anything different because the card game genre of video games is married to the loot box pack model that mirrors IRL card games, right? So there are some things like Marvel Snap that have tried something that looks different on a surface level. So like the monetization for Snap isn't card packs. You're not opening up a card pack and getting a handful of cards, but it is loot boxes. You can't just, you know, you can't just pay $60 and then have Marvel Snap. You still have to pay in installments of trying to randomly get the cards. It just, they're not labeled card packs. They're actually labeled loot boxes. So it's only surface level differences. It's not actually different. They haven't tried anything fundamentally new. They've made a greedier version of the same stuff. So that's Marvel Snap. And so the comments that I got from yesterday's video that weren't about Ice Block were about, oh, if only I could do this and this turn. Am I as dead as a dead knob? Chat, man, I didn't used to hate I didn't used to hate Monoburn, but these days, my goodness, chat, do I hate it. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're dead. Snap is different on a surface level. It's not different on a base level. They haven't tried anything new. They've tried to milk the whales harder. That's what they did. So I got some comments that were like, but Marvel Snap tried something new. No, I gave the outro had a bunch of examples of things that I think are different, right? So it's the loot box model compared to franchise. If it was Hearthstone 1, Hearthstone 2, Hearthstone 3, each new game coming out every year, or a subscription model, you know, like actual different ways of monetization. And I was getting like, Marvel Snap, but what about Marvel Snap? It's like, no, that's the same thing. That's what I meant when I said surface level differences versus base level differences. And the other comment whenever I talk about, like, this is what circling back to what I said earlier about my weaknesses as a streamer, is like Legends of Runeterra. Okay, so Legends of Runeterra is a little different. It actually is a little different because they didn't have card packs, right? You would get materials for crafting, unless I understand incorrectly. I didn't play a lot of Runeterra, but I played some. I played pretty regularly for, you know, a month or two, and then decided I didn't like it because I was playing with one deck and then they nerfed it. Easiest way to get me to quit a card game is nerf something. But I was mostly playing because my friend was getting me into it, right? And the mechanics of the game itself didn't grab me. Legends of Runeterra is too complicated to compete with Hearthstone and not complicated enough to compete with Magic. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about like a level of skill application or anything. I'm talking about like raw complication. MTG has a lot of like layers and extended card text and phases to turns. So it's very heavy with like layers of complication, whereas Hearthstone is designed to be that, but very simple with very few layers of complication. And Runeterra is like, I don't want to even say right in the middle. I think it's leaning the Magic side. It's overly complicated for gameplay that isn't more interesting than Hearthstone, you know what I mean? So I also think that Hearthstone is bright and fun, whereas Legends of Runeterra is dark and hard to look at. So you can kind of get a sense, even if you're not super familiar with Hearthstone, you can kind of follow it pretty easily. Whereas with Legends of Runeterra, you know, your hand just like disappears completely. I don't know, there are all those different zones. It's just so overly complicated to look at. I'm trying really hard not to say a lot. it's really affected my speech patterns. Or speech cadence, I guess. Anyways, all that is to say, my argument is going to boil down to, I don't think Legends of Runeterra had a inspired gameplay, rather. So even if they were trying something slightly new, that's not why they failed. The monetization system being different is not why Runeterra didn't pick off, because, you know, Riot can do it. Riot can do a completely free-to-play game well and profitably. But anyways, they have successful enough games. They have League of Legends and they have Teamfight Tactics. They've done it twice. So they messed up on Runeterra, and I don't think it's because the model was pretty free. I think it's because the game mechanics didn't have broad appeal. So while 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Take a load off.
Whee!
This look easy.
So anyways, I think monetization isn't everything. Like, if you're gonna make a game, the monetization model needs to be profitable, but the gameplay needs to be fun, and I don't think Runeterra delivered on the second one. So I don't think it's the free-to-play nature, like the generous free-to-play nature of Runeterra is what killed it. I think the game just wasn't captivating. People weren't playing it. People would have played Runeterra more if it was fun enough. You know, free and fun, people will play it. Do you concede to Mage because of Ice Block or just unwinnable in general? I conceded to, like, that last Mage. The reason I conceded to it was because I missed damage because I was talking. Instantly knew I wasn't going to use it for a video and was mad at myself and conceded to move on to hopefully use the next game for a video. But I'm still on the same subject that I don't want to put in my video, so I'm not going to use this game either. I just haven't messed up in a way that frustrates me yet. You are either the Reddit or live long enough to become the Reddit. See Monoburn. Well, there you go. Oh, okay, so sorry, circling back. Even if Legends of Runeterra had charged less to get the stuff and didn't have loot boxes, but instead you would get crafting materials to make your cards, which I do think is better from a player side standpoint at least. Even with those things in mind,
I bestow these gifts upon the world. The virtue of the wise I bestow these
it wasn't actually new. It was still gating individual cards behind having to spend money to buy those individual cards, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a subscription model. It wasn't... It wasn't a subscription model. It wasn't regular franchise installments. It was the same kind of freemium thing without as much randomness and without as much cost. So still not what I talk about when I talk about games exploring, like not like the card game genre specifically being hard stuck on the same type of monetization. That's still not different for as far as what I'm talking about. I feel like this use of Moran is kind of stupid, but I felt like going nuts, I guess. Actually, having thought about it further, it's more than just a little stupid. I think I just messed up. No, I forgot I was going to refresh my mana crystals. Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up. It's still on, chat. Should have gone for armor there, but we're still on. Alright. We're still on, but we're off. It's not on, nothing's on, it's off. Alright, goodbye, Bran. Hopefully we won't need you. Fair, Runeterra was quite fun for me, but it did have a niche audience. Right, like, that's the problem with talking about... Like, I have to choose my words so carefully when I don't want to talk about these things, because fun is very subjective on an individual level. But when we talk about making a game successful, fun is actually pretty measurable. Like, if
Our gift of the arcane enlightens us. Our gift of frost chills us.
let me think. like anything, especially complicated things, can be extremely fun for a select, highly invested audience. But if you want to make something fun for most people, you know, that there's a certain degree of simplicity that's required. You want like something to be really easy and captivating to get into right away and have some room for growth beyond that, which a lot of hyper complicated things like Runeterra just don't have. And I don't know, I think that that's more talking about how it fails to compete with Hearthstone. I feel like it failed to compete with Magic too, so like I don't want to say it's just that it was too complicated, because I don't think that's true at all. I think it was also like complicated poorly, right? That's how I feel about it. My winged children fuel the chunks. All the Aviana. All the Aviani. So I messed up my whatever win condition, so now I have to... Oh, it put 2 of something in. Whoops. Should have done this first too. I messed up. You know, chat. Oh my goodness. Imagine getting punished when you can just win the video game, you know what I mean?
What do I do with all these cards?
But yeah, so when I talk about it, when I talk about like a game wasn't fun, I'm not saying it wasn't fun for me. I think a game that isn't fun doesn't have mass appeal. I think the problem Yu-Gi-Oh faces when trying to attract new players is that the game is complicated at the face level, but is pretty shallow in depth compared to MTG. Sure. In my opinion, what's most telling is that it came out, the most people could say about Runeterra that I saw was the game was free and really easy to build a collection, and not the game was really fun and also it's cheap and easy to get into. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. People would only talk about how free it was. Like, I'm not gonna play a free game that isn't fun when I could play a paid game that is fun. You know, before I would play a free game that isn't fun, I would not play a game, you know what I mean? A game has to be fun for me to play it. Hi, Uther. You know what's really easy and captivating to get into? Being a MartianBuu subscriber. Make sure to do so here and on BooTube. Yeah, exactly. Aviana lives. Look at that. Look at that. Topi topes. Monpa. Funny. Excuse me, chat. Here's this. Gain Divine Shield. Great Harvest, Apa! Look at all the corpses I have now. Look at me go. The limited base set didn't help. It wasn't as fun at launch. Do you think it got more fun over time? Yeah, it might have. Like they nerfed my deck and then I was gone. Was what it was for me. Like I think I had 1 or 2 decks, and this kind of showcases how their model wasn't actually that innovative, because Ozric. You guys think I can kill that somehow behind this? We'll see. Oh my goodness, 2 guff? That's twice as many guff, chat. And looks like no, I actually can't kill the thing. Unlucky. So I'll do this. I've never gotten so much Chromagus value. Look at that. When it wasn't just that I was used to my deck and they destroyed it, it was I ran out of Runeterra resources and my deck was worse. I didn't have, like, I had crafted that deck and I didn't have the stuff to craft to make a new one. So I would have had to grind all the way over again. So that's the same thing. That's what happens in other card games. In other card games like this, where you don't get all the resources for a price. If you're, you know, if it was the model of like a Switch game, right, you would pay $60, $70 and you'd get the whole game. And so if they nerf something, it's okay because you have the other stuff. You can just make it. Whereas with doing the same thing like Runeterra did, where the cards have to be unlocked through time or money, if you don't have enough to make a new deck, you're just stuck there. You're forced to pay money, or you're forced to play something suboptimal for a long period of time, longer than you want to play something that you don't want to play, to get the resources to craft something else. So, like, I think that's inherently limiting for fun too. Like, it's really fun to have all cards and be able to try any deck you want, right? Right now, what you guys have to do, if you're not like me with a complete collection, what you have to do is you have to watch somebody like me play until you see me play something that looks interesting, or you just like, you're going online and you're like, oh, that looks like that could be cool, and then you have to just go for it, right? You have to just hope that I'm playing it. Oh, they came offline too. You just have to hope that your investment is going to be worth it, because you don't get to try it out beforehand. You have to invest the resources, and then if what you build isn't fun, your resources are gone. You have to try something else. So like, I would like to play a card game where the model enables the player to have all of the cards so that they can freely experiment and play the game however they want, without having to spend a long amount of time, a large portion of their time, playing something that they don't want to play in order to earn the thing that they do want to play, or pay more money than you would expect to pay for a full game to get just that one piece of the game, if that makes sense. So that's what an actual different model would be like. Do you have an idea of what that model looks like? Sure, tons of them. So it's easy. So like, there's subscription models, there's franchise models, and I think free to play can be done in such a way where, like, League of Legends, for example. Okay, so first, the really easy ones. That's like, yeah, I missed my opportunity to play that, didn't I? This was my duplicate. Sorry, I'm much more invested in this conversation than I am in the game I'm playing. I'm sorry. But Call of Duty, every year, they come out with a new game, right? They come out with a new game for $70 or $80. But when you buy that game, you get the whole game. And there are like cosmetics and stuff you can buy, right, too? Like, that's separate. But you don't expect to have to pay more once you're in Call of Duty to just be able to play. Once you've spent your $70 to $80 for your new Call of Duty game, you have everything the game has to offer as far as gameplay. Sometimes you'll need to unlock something, but that's by playing. It's not by grinding for hours to incentivize you to skip the grind so that you'll buy it, right? Which is how the pay-to-play models are. So card games can do that. They could have Hearthstone 2023, and they just release everything that would have come out in that year, and for $70 you have the entire standard meta of, I'm not, by the way, I am not suggesting a timeout. I am not suggesting that Hearthstone switch to this. I'm using Hearthstone as an example because you know Hearthstone, so it's digestible. So substitute Hearthstone for a brand new game that's actually choosing to innovate outside of the normal monetization model for card games.
Insanity is no excuse for bad manners.
Well, this ain't looking good, chat. I'll say that much. All right, neat. So I'm gonna do this, and this, and that. So anyways, so imagine Hearthstone 2023 costs $80, and you get Festival of Legends, Titans, and Showdown in the Badlands. Not like, that's just the cards that are in the game, right? They don't name them individual expansions. You just have all that cards. So for that whole year, everyone's playing that meta, and you don't have to worry about balancing the new cards with what came out previously, because that was Hearthstone 2022. So if you like, the cards of Hearthstone 2024 aren't going to break the cards of Hearthstone 2023, because that's a completely different game. You don't have to worry about the new cards breaking your old stuff. You don't have to worry about the stuff you have now making the previous cards imbalanced. And when they have to nerf something, you don't have to worry about grinding out all the resources necessary to build the next best fun deck that you could play, because you have all the cards right now. Then, oh, you know what? I should have done this first, because we want Zoarg's Crown, but we didn't get it. Unlucky. I also don't want these, do I? I guess this could potentially copy a nice dragon in my hands. I don't know, chat. I don't know about this. Oh, this is an undead. Haha. So that would be a new monetization model. So instead of paying like out the wazoo for the cards in 3 expansions over a year, you just get a new title every year, and you pay the whole money to get the whole isolated game. And then once that gets tired, once you've played that enough that you're bored of it, Hearthstone has come out with Hearthstone 2024, and then you buy that and play that for a year. The other nice part about that is you don't have to worry about balancing in Wild, right? Because these things are all completely separate games. If you wanted to play, you know, Knights of the Frozen Throne, you just pop out your Hearthstone 2024 and pop in Hearthstone 2017, relive your nostalgia for a little while, and then go back to playing all the new games. So that's a different monetization model. But it could also be as simple as a subscription model. So you could have a game where like you get like a tutorial level of gameplay for free, and then like World of Warcraft, right? You get a tutorial level of gameplay for free with World of Warcraft, but then if you want to play the full game, you have a monthly subscription. So you could have a monthly subscription for Hearthstone, and then you get everything within Hearthstone while you're paying the monthly subscription. You don't have to worry about, again, you don't have to worry about your deck getting ruined by a nerf. You can just try something else. You can try all the other fun things and see what you like. I wanted to make this trade first, but I guess I'll make this one. And we have our friend Kel'Thuzad, right? So we should just trade a bunch and get all our stuff back while these Kel'Thuzads are out. Right? And then they can just worry about other stuff. So that would be like just really obvious. Like other game genres do this already. They have freemium models like Hearthstone do. Like if you have a shooter, there are freemium shooters, mostly on mobile, but they exist. And like same thing for MMOs. They have like freemium ones that are meant to squeeze the whale so that the free-to-play people can have boring suboptimal experience but for free. But then you also have subscription models, and you also have annual titles. So like that already exists for other things. And my point with all of this is card games are the one that don't bother trying to innovate, experiment outside of the like go-to model whatsoever. All right, there's no, they're all doing the same exact thing, and it's because it's so lucrative and it's so proven, right? Like, why are you going to fix what's not broken when you can just say, all right, as long as we follow the pack model, we'll be fine. I really should have copied this one, huh? But I was too busy talking. So the way that I want to do it is I would do it like League of Legends, right? Where it is the freemium model, but instead of having to pay a lot for a bunch of different pieces and earning fragments of various pieces that you try to assemble a character out of, like if you compare decks to characters, like decks in Hearthstone, compare that to characters in League of Legends. So when you try to assemble a character in Hearthstone, you open up packs that have random fragments of a character, and then you have to keep opening packs until you've opened up enough fragments to build something that works. And oftentimes, the first thing you put together isn't the best version of whatever that is. Whereas League of Legends, when you buy something in League of Legends, you get the whole character that you need. So in League of Legends, you get the entire deck if you compare that to Hearthstone. So I like Cho'Gath in League of Legends. When I buy Cho'Gath, I have everything I need to play Cho'Gath. It doesn't mean I can play Ashe or Jace or Master Yi too, but I've bought Cho'Gath. I have every bit of Cho'Gath that I need. And if I want to play something else, I just have to buy that something else. It's heavily customizable. I don't get all of it for free, but once I buy something, I have everything I need for it. Like, you can't just buy a hunter deck. You know, you can't buy Reno Druid in Hearthstone. You have to buy a bunch of bits of things, and then eventually, oh, this is a good one, isn't it? And then eventually you have something that's workable, whether or not it's what you actually wanted to play, right? So you could do that for Hearthstone. What you have to do is make all of the cards free, but the heroes purchasable. So if you think about, like, if hero cards were base heroes instead, basically, if like you could buy Guff and Guff would be your starting hero, don't get hung up on the power level of these things, right? Just like think about it conceptually. Like you could buy Frostless Jaina, you could buy Guff, and then they would start as your hero, and from there you would build the rest of your deck to complement your hero that has its own unique effects and hero power, right? So that's how I would do it. I would make it so that as soon as you buy a hero in this game, you have everything you need to play that hero, and then you're only paying a small like, as a cheap to play player, you can get a lot for your money, whereas now a cheap to play player does not get a lot for their money. You're either, to get good value out of Hearthstone, you either need to have a ton of expendable income, or you need to be a free to play player. Anyways, I've been rambling and trying to play a terrible game this whole time, so I don't know that I articulated all of my points as well as I would have liked to, but that's what I mean when I say a different model.
You will be crushed beneath the endless tide.
Chat, I have been paying almost no attention to this. Oh, oops. I've been paying almost no attention to this, and why is it still going? Why hasn't my opponent beaten me?
Stay alert, my child.
Martian slams Hearthstone monetization, says he could do it better. I don't even think it's necessarily better. It's not my base query is not about any of these things being better. It's why is nobody trying anything new? Everyone is so hard locked on the one way to monetize card games. Nobody ever tries to branch out of it at all. Would you rather have a subscription model or a paid model? I think having a like franchise model where they come out with a new thing that's completely separate from last year's thing every year is the way to have a card game at its absolute best, because every time in that card game's history is preserved. It's not ruined by accumulating hyper synergies in a legacy format. If you want to play with your old stuff, you just pull out your old copy of the game like you would any other franchise. So I think from a pure gameplay perspective, franchise would be the best way to do it, but I don't believe in that as the most lucrative way to monetize it, right? Like, that's not how I would do it. You're waiting for Martian TCG? I wish. Oh my goodness, we discovered this. Chat, are we gonna win after all? Answer me that, chat. Are we gonna win after all? I'll tell you something else, chat. I have needed to pee for so long. These are terrible treasures. Okay, there's the good one. Thank you. That's the good one. And there's this. Let's go get some cool stuff. Wow. Ooh. Don't mind if I do. Don't hit my stuff. No. Boom. I have like 6 accounts because I don't have enough dust on most of them, and the nerfs ruins my deck. Yeah.
No one will believe this.
I'm pro subscription for Hearthstone, even if it's only standard. I think it would be good for Wild too. People less likely to dust on rotation. Yeah, but it like, I completely understand and agree with your point. I think for me, it's just really important for me to say, like, I'm not suggesting that Hearthstone change anything. I just want to see a competitor in the industry actually do something that's unique from the rest of the card games from a monetization standpoint. Excuse me. I love everything is free, new cards every 5 to 6 months, pay for skins and foil cards and stuff. Yeah.
The time has come to dethrone our former master.
Pay for quest lines. Thought you were facing Reno Pally for a second. Reno Hero made it hard to tell. Yep, we're all over the place, aren't we? So let me go ahead and do this. Ooh, nice. Oh, Gazrilla. And then one to the face, let's go! I played Disney Lorcana, which had a free online simulator. I had so much fun trying all the decks and practice them online for free. Then I bought them in real life to play tournaments. Then Disney copyrighted the free simulator and I stopped playing the entire game because of that. They didn't copyright it, right? They gave them a cease and desist type thing. But I agree, you know. Disney should have something like that. Pokemon has that. Pokemon has that where like they have a super free, it's not super free, it's like pretty free online emulator. And I've talked to people in real life who got into spending money on real cards because or at least in a higher degree, because they would open a pack for fun and see this and go see the little code that redeems for a pack online and think, what is this, and pursue it. So like the people who collect for funsies will actually start playing the game IRL because they have this thing that takes them to what basically amounts to an online tutorial, and it just gets them into. So anyways, all that is to say, I think there is definitely some value to IRL games having a slightly free online version to get people more into it. And with that, I'm gonna go to the restroom. I'll be right back.